we'll start on your YouTube, but before you go on to Paul's YouTube.
Do I get to defend myself before I'm attacked, or do I get attacked first?
I'm saying all this from a place of love. That is adding zero value.
I'm incredibly self-conscious.
That would make me go and do another one. I think you should do them, and I think you should have your face in it more. That's more engaging.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Apart from on race day, it's me that does it all.
The problem when you're a one-man band is that you've only got one set of eyes.
I think you'd kill the vibe if people thought they were being recorded.
Your market is on YouTube searching for races.
Yeah.
You need to utilise it more. You're neglecting YouTube.
I'm just a shy little boy that doesn't want to reach out for fear of embarrassment.
You've got to do it.
Yeah, but how do I find them?
I would be banging that drum every single week, a different video to camera going, this is what the Big Bear events are.
This is the whole point of this show, right? When you then look at it and really think about it, you're like, oh, that was silly. Just giving myself a cramp. Sorry.
Were you running yesterday?
Carry on.
What a way to start an episode. Paul's got a cramp. He's not even sweating yet. We've not even looked at one page. Anyway, Paul, welcome to In the Comments.
Morning, afternoon. Afternoon, it depends when you're listening, I guess. Afternoon here.
It's 12:30.
Yeah.
We're running late today.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
No worries.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, this could be, having just looked at the front page of my YouTube, this could be a car crash, but we'll see how we get on.
So big context is we know one another anyway.
Yeah.
So you started coming to our marketing push events in Warwick.
Yes.
Which I stopped doing since selling the agencies because it was just cost me money. And although I love giving up to charity, I'm not that charitable. So we met there, and then I then found out that you run a running event,
Yes.
and I like to run
Yes.
a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think I collared you at the run show last year because I spotted you somewhere, and then
A bold bloke in the running show. Who'd have guessed it?
Well, and then I sort of felt a bit weird because obviously those marketing push what we call them? I was going to say shows, events. That's it. I found those incredibly useful, but I realised that I was one of 30 people or whatever, 50 people in a room, and so and I never really engaged massively with it. So I was just a man that was there for a bit and then walked out having eaten some cake. So you probably didn't realise who I was when I came up to speak to you. But yeah, I really enjoyed those. I got a lot of value out of those.
They were good.
Things.
Well, I sort of wanted it more. It was more of a brand perception thing for the agency. I wanted this to be seen like we're really, doing loads of really cool stuff. And I'm a big believer of practice what you preach. So if I say to someone, go and do this, well, if I don't do it myself, I believe you're a con artist. So you should literally be doing what you did preach. But no, they're good. So we met through that.
Yeah.
I've then said for years that I'll come do one of your events. I've just never had time, which I did do for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Your Daventry race, which I loved. Michael.
That's your first one you've ever done?
Of Paul.
Yeah.
Paul's, yeah.
I didn't realise.
Yeah, never done one. So rocked up, got told to wear one piece of footwear, totally ignored it, and now I've got to pull in here, which annoyed me.
It's my professional opinion. I think because the context, I guess, is that they're trail events, but really it's more just they're not road events. So there's a difference between running on the road and running through a farmer's field, and that bit in the middle is where my events are. You could sort of walk with the kids around there and they'd get a bit muddy, so you don't really need big trail shoes on.
No, but I was stupid. So for people that don't know who you are, Paul, because obviously we know who you are.
Yes. Who
Who are you? What do you do? And why are you here?
So, for me, I guess to start with, as we just discussed, I have a zoology degree, which is completely irrelevant to anything else that I've ever done. But I've got that. I used to work for HSBC. I went through their graduate scheme and was a branch manager in central London, and I lost my soul to that. So then I tried to get it back by going into teaching, which I really enjoyed. And then I've got twins, so 2 children. And then essentially when they turned up, I stopped teaching. My wife carries on working to earn the actual money, and I set up Big Bear Events. So Big Bear Events, in a nutshell, for most of the events, we put on 6-hour lapped running events in country parks and forests around the Midlands. And they're sort of the real niche, despite the fact the 6 hour part is quite niche, is that they're generally midweek events. So the one that you did 2 weeks ago was on a Friday. Yes, it was on a Friday. I did one yesterday that was on a Tuesday. The next one we've got in 3 weeks on a Thursday. So they're midweek events. So they're not huge. This isn't sort of closing down a city and having 40,000 people. They tend to be about 100 people running around doing what they want to do. Low pressure, do what you want, have fun, all good. That's about it, really.
And why here?
So we've chatted before. So I mean, I was chatting to Michael earlier, and in terms of actually organising the events, I probably spend, I don't know, half an hour a day doing that, and then the rest of the time is spent doing this stuff, because there's no point organising great events and doing all the bells and whistles there if nobody knows about it and they don't turn up. Like, the difficulty is that there are just so many events. Even doing what is quite a niche style of event, there's still loads of events out there that people can go and choose from. So just to sort of illustrate this point, the 100 Marathon Club, which is what it says, a club for people that have run 100 marathons or that want to, they list all of the marathons that are on in the UK on their website, and every weekend there'll be at least 10 you can pick from. Every week there'll probably be 4 or 5 or 2 or 3 across the country that are on midweek. And so if you want to run somewhere and you want to run a marathon especially, you've got all the choice you want. So you've got to try and stand out from what other people are doing, and it's just trying to get through the noise of social media to make sure the right people hear what you're doing. I don't know if I've answered the actual question, but I've spoken for a long time now.
It's a fair question. It's a fair answer. I think you're here because you like marketing.
Yeah, well, well, like some sort of stalker. Is that what you mean? I just follow marketing stuff around. No,
but you know, when we've spoken, you always wanted to, you want to grow the event, because obviously it grow to a certain degree, but you're aware that you'll always have a churn rate.
Yes.
Which is natural in any business. So although, yes, you're getting, at the moment you're at capacity pretty much across the board, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You're fully aware that on average 10, 15, whatever the percentage is, will not come to the next race or do them one next year because they've got different commitments now, or they've taken different work, or whatever it may be. So you now need to fill that gap in. Yeah. The way you do that is by marketing.
Yeah.
But what you don't have is a multi-million-pound budget like many brands.
No, I'm not London Marathon. I'm not going to go up buying all the companies and doing whatever they do and having a yogurt partnership and all these sorts of things. I think it's hilarious. I mean, I'm relatively new to LinkedIn, which I'm sure we'll get onto, but I really enjoy seeing the latest London Marathon partner, because every single item you could ever buy in Sainsbury's, they've got a partner for that. So they've got yogurt, they've got shampoo, they've got all these partners.
Have they actually got a shampoo partnership?
Yeah, I believe it's Radox. I mean, it might be. So I'm not sure. I don't know if they've got shampoo or if it's like shower gel, or like they've probably got 2 different people for that. It just makes me laugh so much, because I can't be more opposite to that. I mean, I use shower gel, but I mean, in terms of the Big Bear, like, it's so funny. It does make me laugh. Again, I've not answered your question, but there you go.
It's fine. It's fine. So you need to plug a gap. You don't have multi-millions like the UTMBs, like the London Marathon, and we won't get you started on UTMB because we have not got physically the time to go there with that. But you need to be quite clever and creative in terms of what you do.
Yes.
You started this 8 years ago?
Yeah, 8 years, like this week. Yeah.
Okay, so again, perfect. You created something brilliant. Like, I went to the event last 2 weeks ago, and I wouldn't say blown away, but I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, this is a really good event. And what I liked is there were so many different types of runners. So you had, people that so it was a lapped event, wasn't it? 5, although I think your meterage was off, because also the lady that did the thing also had the same as me. So, but anyway, we won't go into that. But They were great. I thought it was a really, really good event. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was so many different types of people there. You know, good runners, bad runners, old runners, young runners. It was a real mixture in terms of diversity. It was absolutely great, and everyone went away with a smile on their face. You know, essentially, and it was a really nice environment to be in. You couldn't get lost, like, you know, in some of these races. It was really inclusive.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it. It was really, really inclusive, and yeah, like I said, the running market is huge. It's getting more and more busy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
So how do we make you guys stand out? But what you have done the last year is, you know, you've created a community.
Yeah.
Your Facebook group now consists of what, 2,000 people?
Yeah, so there's 2,000 people there. Mailing list of around 2,500, 3,000 people, I think. I think Instagram followers might be 3,000. So it's definitely people, and without sounding too arrogant, the people that come do enjoy it. So I use a platform called RaceCheck to get reviews on. Their pitch, essentially, I've used them for years, pretty much from the start. Their pitch is that they want to be the trust pilot of running events. The problem that I have with that is that no one ever seems to use reviews when they're looking for races. So, like we've discussed in the past, you'll go to YouTube videos and watch what other people are doing, rather than type in, you know, UTMB reviews. Whereas having just done an extension and sort of put a kitchen in, there is not a single item in that kitchen that hasn't been searched, whatever the exact brand is, the exact model and review. So if it's not scoring above 4.5, it doesn't get in my kitchen. Whereas when it comes to events, there's not enough people doing that, because if they did, I would have 20,000 people at my events. Been a bit hyperbolic, but you know, my events, I've had 1,500 reviews on my events over the last 7 years, because I asked them to pull through all the data for me. I need to count up how many of those have been 5 out of 5, but it will be the majority of those events. I think I did a quick average of those 1,500 reviews, and the score was 4.89 or so, like very high. It's actually 4.9. I had an event last year that scored. So it's a bit of an odd way that they do their scoring, but essentially to get actually 5 out of 5 is quite rare. And most people get like 4.9 or something like that. But I had 35 people score it 5 out of 5, which then has made that event the top rated off-road running event in the world, because they do foreign ones as well. So we'll say it's in the world. And that's sort of one of my little events with 100 people, that from 100 people, I can get 35 people to then review it, which, you know, London Marathon only has like 20 reviews each year. Fine, they're not really asking for it the same way as I do, but I get really good engagement. So that's a very, very long way of me saying that the people that do come to my events tend to enjoy it and tend to come back. But the same as with you enjoyed it when you could come 10 days ago, but you can't come every week. And not many people can, because being midweek makes it quite niche, means that life gets in the way, or, you know, I work on a Thursday or whatever it is. So I have a lot of people that come back, but very, very few of them can come back every week. So it's the retention rate's really quite high, I think. But it's about trying to keep putting people in like the bottom of the funnel, so I can then just keep turning them round. Because the churn rate, you're right, is sort of relatively high, or not high, but there's obviously going to be churn because it's just life. But a lot of it tends to be, oh, I'm not running, oh, I'm injured, oh, I've moved away, or whatever it is. You don't get many people like, oh, actually, I'm just bored of your events now. Whether they just don't tell me, I guess is people are polite. But we retain a lot of the people because it's just nice, and it's a different environment for you as well. In that when you're running your races, if you're doing 50k point to point, you've never seen the people sort of towards the back of the course, because they're effectively in a different different race to you.
Well, I'm not at the front. I mean,
no, but you're not at the.
Let's make that clear.
But you're not at the back. Yeah, but you're decent. So you're sort of pushing towards the front, and you're racing. Whereas when I go to so I'm doing Trans Gran Canaria Marathon in a couple of weeks. I'm not racing it. I'm going for a good time. Like, I just want to go and experience. We've done it before. It's brilliant, but I just want to go out there and experience it. It's going to be great fun, and the people at the front are effectively doing a different race to me. Whereas when you're doing lapped events, you see those people, and it's just a bit. It's a slightly different experience. Whether it's better or worse, I guess, is for people to decide. But it's a different experience to right. I'm going to run 50k away from where I started. And I'll never see these people before because I'll actually be at home with my feet up before they've finished 50k. So it just adds a different vibe to it. But everybody sort of seems to buy into it because I think there were sort of 3 or 4 guys that essentially went off at the front, of which I think you were one of them, and they sort of I think you were.
I wasn't.
No, okay. So, but they sort of. They might.
You never dropped. You never dropped too early, mate.
Oh, right,
you know, none of that nonsense. Just you know,
people just
tortoise and hare, mate. Just you know.
But it's nice thing that people they sort of come and get what they want to get from it. They just keep. Yeah, like it's with not having the set distance as well, and it being based on time, it means that you can have people that are there that just want to come and run a 10k, and just do it slowly, but just enjoy the day.
Yeah,
and they can mix them with people that want to come and race for 6 hours
and also feel part of something. So like if you were to think, you know, I want to do a race, I want to do an ultra race because it's something that people want to do.
Yeah,
it's quite intimidating. It is very, whereas yours, because they could do 10 or they could do 15 or wow, they could even do 20k potentially.
Yeah,
God, what an achievement.
Yeah,
but they're not coming with I've got to. There's no DNF.
Yeah,
which is amazing. Like I'm a little bit. I know this is very running centric, and we'll go on to your pages in a second. But I have to giggle at DNFs. So I love YouTube channels where it's like I've DNF for the first time, and I sit there and just laugh.
So have you not DNF one?
No, have I? No. Absolute wet wipes. No, I've got no interest in it. I watched a guy from New Zealand, I think he is, who did the UTMB Snowdonia last year.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know it's very hot, right?
Yeah.
He crumbled after. Was he doing the 100k? Maybe he's doing the 100k. He crumbled after like 45k, and I'm like, "You're an idiot. What are you doing?"
So one day you'll be humbled, and then you'll work it out. So there are phenomenal athletes.
To give you context about this,
go on.
Pennine Barrier Way, my hamstring was in a whole heap of bother.
Yeah,
whole heap of bother. Managed to scrape for it.
Yeah,
managed to scrape for it.
And well done for toughing it out. But they're all
one foot in front of the other.
You'll be that's fine until that one foot won't go in front of the other, or there's somebody standing there with a stopwatch and you've timed out.
Like timed out, no, I get that. I get the timeout bit. I'm worried about that on some of my ones coming up. I am worried about that timeout. But that's my concern. But we'll be all right. We'll get there. But anyway, so but going back to your point around the reviews, like I understand the review site, the race checker. The problem is how many people are actually using it. Like for example, I go on YouTube and watch videos. So the Cat 100 I'm doing, I'm annoyed at the moment because there's only one video I can find that's in bloody English.
Yeah.
And it's a guy from Holland that's done it. I can't find, it seems that I've even looked at the last 3 years, looked who's English in it, and then put them into YouTube to see if they've got a running channel. Yeah. Can't find anyone. So I'm annoyed that I can't really understand how the race is. But what I haven't done is gone on any other sites to go, what's the reviews like? So
I would suggest that is because you're doing a European mountain race, and fine, it is now a UTMB race. I'm assuming that I'm right here anyway, that race has probably been around for multiple years, has a lovely history, and then UTMB came in with a big pot of cash and said, "We'll have that, thanks." That tends to be their way they work. So there'll be it will be a different vibe. So if it's the first, I don't know if it's the first year UTMB have had it. It might be second. Yeah. It probably won't be many more than that. Once UTMB get their claws into it, there'll be loads more English-speaking people over there vlogging and being influencer type people doing all that.
But
So that will come, don't worry.
But which is good. And although it's like negative, because like you said, the heart is being, soul is being ripped out of that race. Forget all of that, right? Forget the niceties of it. Forget it from a pure acquisition perspective.
Yeah.
I want to see what it's like before I spend 250, 300 quid, or whatever it's cost me, before I make that jump.
So I mean, obviously I don't work for UTMB, but I'd be very surprised if they didn't sort of pay for vloggers and things to go out there, so then in the next year they can then do that.
But there's loads of like Ben Parks, Run for Adventure. There's loads of people out there, isn't there? There's tons of them out there.
And I think, you know, I assume there's.
Do you reckon they make much money, those vloggers, those running ones? I've considered it. I reckon me and you could do it. Yeah, I've pondered at making a running channel.
So I really don't engage massively with it, and we've spoken about this, and I should.
I think you need to.
Yeah, I know. So
because then we'll go onto your YouTube channel and we'll actually while Paul's just talking, Michael, can you go onto YouTube, a different YouTube, and whack in Run for Adventure, please, just to sort of show the difference, because I quite like his thumbnails and stuff.
So we forgot his name last time.
I can't remember his name. I don't even know his name.
So I think a lot of his stuff comes from brand partnerships, would you call it that, I guess?
He did the South Downs Way 100 last year.
He's done quite a lot of Centurion stuff.
He's done loads. Do they pay him?
No, not that I'm aware of. Lloyd, that's it. That's it.
Lloyd Purvis, is that it?
This is his website.
He's got his own website? Mm-hmm. Oh, and his missus.
So he does lots of... so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there with the UTMB stuff. So if you go back to that, go whatever that was. So Arc of Attrition, UTMB, TDS, UTMB. So I think he goes out and does quite a lot of vlogging stuff with UTMB, when it was UTMB. But now the Arc is part of the UTMB family. And they'll have other events as well. I would imagine they'll get more people like him to go out and do things.
Which is good, because the casual runner like me, I'll probably spend more money on the races that I can actually interact with more on YouTube, because I can actually
see what's going on.
I can see it.
And I 100% get that. And the reason that you don't have that yet is because those races are sort of underground type events. I mean, it's the...
Well, I found one yesterday called the Running Monk. Have you heard of those guys?
Yeah, Shropshire way, I think.
Yeah,
so they put events on, and I think he does YouTube stuff. I
don't know. I can't remember who told me about him yesterday. Yeah, but there's absolutely tons. But what we're going to do is, Paul, let's go on. We're now going to criticise. Is probably the best way. Evaluate.
Criticise with love.
Criticise with love, because so we'll start on your YouTube, but before you go on to Paul's YouTube, right? Bear in mind, I'm saying all this from a place of love, because I've seen your events now, and they are brilliant.
It's good when you have to swap for 5 minutes about how nice you're going to be. Yeah, it doesn't normally end.
No, they're like really, really good. So if you look on Lloyd's YouTube channel, okay. Now, bear in mind, I think he does this full time now. Yeah. Or at least he's got a part-time job he does it, right? Okay, so he's got, and clearly he's very good at editing and stuff. And again, a lot of this is to do with different shoes and stuff. So it's a lot more a thing. But he does little, like the Road to Jordan, I think it's called, that Jordan. He does these little series. Yeah. And I think there's some stuff that you could, especially, I don't like Ben Parks, so I don't like his voice. When I put him on in the TV, my other half goes, he's got the most annoying voice. I'm like, I do sort of agree with you, actually.
I only know the name. I don't think I've ever
You need to go on
anything.
YouTube. Okay, yeah. Right. So I'd look at him. But let's see if we look at that. So it's engaging. There's lots of good thumbnails there. Michael, you'd agree, from a man behind the camera. It's quite cool. If we then go to Big Bear events.
I've definitely taken a different take.
Yeah.
So... Do I get to defend myself before I'm attacked, or do I get attacked first?
Well, let's
attack
go.
Me first. Yeah.
I'm really curious.
So, do you want to know what I use the YouTube? What I essentially use YouTube for?
Yes.
Okay. So,
can I guess?
Yeah, go on.
Race briefings.
Well, yeah. So
Not in landscape though.
uh,
In portrait.
in portrait, yeah, because yeah. Anyway, so the main point of the YouTube channel. So the race briefings are only there, sort of, that I then remember to do about 24 hours before the event. So we spoke a little bit about when we have canicross events. If you've got dogs at the start line, they tend to go ballistic, and so no one can hear anything you're saying. So I put a race briefing online for those 4 or 5 people that come with dogs, so they can then listen to the race briefing. If their dog goes crazy, they can then go for 2 minutes and then come back once it's all finished. So that's what they're on for. So that is very much not. So now that event's happened, really, I should just get rid of those videos because they are redundant, really. So that's not really what I use YouTube for, despite the fact they are on my YouTube channel. What I tend to use them for are for all the little bits that are in red there, where I've tried to make the little thumbnails, and they are course previews for every venue that we go to. So as much as on the day, I want to make it so it's a low pressure, nice environment to run in. And you might not be able to relate to this because I can't massively, but so many people get so anxious before the events of where am I going to park, what am I going to wear, what am I going to do, how is all this stuff going to work, that personally I sort of just turn up and be like, oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. But a good chunk of my runners that come to, or people that come to my events, they suffer with the anxiety. So I've put out loads of what I would call sort of like static informational content. So for Daventry Country Park, what to expect. So I did it a year ago, but you can, you ran across that. You can see what the car park's like. I'll show you where the toilets are. I'll show you how much the car parking is and things like that. Can you pay on card? Pointless detail that calms a lot of people down. So it's not sort of sexy or glamorous at all. But that tends to be what I use YouTube for. So it's a lot of these videos, they're a year old, because I think last winter I thought, right, let's try and smarten them up, because if you go back to ones that are a lot older, they've got nothing on them at all. So those ones. So we're going back, they're 5 years old, some of those, so I can probably bin off a lot of those ones. But it's just to try and make it so people know what to expect, because somebody says trail, well, is that going to be up Snowdon or is that going to be around Newbell Common? It could be anything. So I want to show people what it's like, because I've been to events, and too many people have been to events where it says something on the website and you turn up and it is the opposite. Oh, there's parking close. Well, okay, it's a 25-minute walk and it's a triathlon, so I've got to take my bag and it's a nightmare. So I want to sort of show people that I'm not talking rubbish and this is what you will get. So that is what I use YouTube for, rather than sort of outwardly promoting stuff, if that makes sense.
Okay. So I think that's a good idea in terms of showing people the events.
Yeah.
If you scroll up, Michael, and if you can play one, but just take the volume down, just so we don't hear it. So these are good, but you're not in it.
No. So this is me running around with a GoPro. So again, having listened to your podcast and the stuff that you do, I'm starting to realise that I've got to put my face on these things. I had an interesting conversation with someone yesterday, actually, and she sort of commented on, essentially see you're sort of in more of the stuff that you're doing. And I wonder if anybody sort of thinks you're trying to be like a essentially wanker influencer type thing. She's like, I don't think you are, but I wonder if that's what some people could like.
Who said
misconceive. Just one of my regular runners. Like, so we chat, and she's brilliant, massive fan. But she was like, I've noticed that you've started changing things by actually getting in the pictures, and I don't like being the centre of attention for these things. So I much prefer to be sort of faceless. But again, listening to lots of stuff that you've done, I've realised that I've got to sort of be the face of the company, because it is just me.
So when I first started Let's Run Social, I didn't want to be involved at all. So I was like, right, I'm going to build it and I can be totally faceless behind it.
Yeah.
Like I can, be be the organ grinder, but I'm never seen. Realised very quickly that I can grow this 10 times quicker by just being around and being seen as a face of it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I had no interest in it. Like even this stuff, got no. In my personal life, I've got no social media profile in my personal life. Obviously, the wacky stuff I do on LinkedIn, but it works. I don't have any social at all. I live a very discreet life in my own little world. I'm not seen. I don't speak to anyone at the school gates. Got no interest in them.
Yeah.
At parties, I sit away from all the other parents because I've got absolutely no interest. Very discreet.
Yeah.
But from a work perspective, I then go, I'm going to have to do this because it's going to get us quicker. So the woman that said that, the reason why she said it, I'm sure she's brilliant and she's really nice. It's just different. It's because it's something's different. And and the problem is with customers, because that's what they are. However we like to phrase it, is that the second something is different and it's something they're like, oh, not that they're moaning, but they'll give you their opinion, and you're like, well, great, but we want to grow. So do I mean? So I get it.
Yeah.
And that's not being negative. It's just the reality of like, I've had customers in the past going, oh, well, you're doing this now? Yeah, we are. Does it matter? Like my MIB business, we're like, oh, you're doing social media now? Yes. Because all it is how's it going to impact me? That's all they're worried about. They're not worried about the business or you. What they're worried about is that, if there's 500 people here now, is this going to impact how I run it? No, because so it's not being negative. It's just the reality of a customer thinking solely for themselves, which is annoying because they do what they do. Your race briefings, fine. I would keep them on there. In terms of these run rounds of the courses, I think you should do them, and I think you should have your face in it more.
Yeah. So when I first started doing them, actually, so like the old ones that are sort of 5 years old, I'd go along with a GoPro and essentially put it down and then run away from the GoPro and then sort of do that all the way around the lap. So it's essentially just me running away from things. So yeah, that one where my feet are in it. And it's just, I then was sort of realising it's just me running to a camera. Oh, hang on, did I literally just do the first bit? But there were bits where I'd sort of like run around. But
that's again, more engaging.
Do you think?
Yeah. I did one for you today, actually, Michael. I put my phone down when I was getting my bike out the side of the house for you.
This is the thing, like and the reason, so I went to the running show this year that you were at as well, and I didn't record anything there, mainly because I thought it'd sound awful, but also I'm incredibly self-conscious of walking around looking like a tit, really.
Well, I'm going to talk about that because I've got some other ideas for you.
Okay.
So in terms of YouTube, you need to, which goes into what I was going to say. So the race briefings, fine, keep them on there. I think
hide them. I'm sure I can hide them.
You could hide them actually. Yeah. You can make them unpublic. And put them in the playlist. I would also look at, because I think going round the course, if I'd have watched that, I wouldn't have wore my things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wore them, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. This is my own fault. But if I'd have watched the video, and it was more engaging, I'd have watched and gone, I'll just wear my Nike ones.
Because on all the emails that you obviously read when I send out the pre-race emails, obviously, on all of those emails, there are links to the YouTube channel with the videos as well. Because
get on to your emails, Paul.
Oh, the emails are good. So the emails that I send out before the events, they have links to these videos because, like I say, so many people want to know what the course is like. But yeah.
So I would continue them, but I think you need to put your face in them more. Right. And I would also put them into different sections. So like if you look at Daventry, I would class that you had 3 sections in my world. Okay, so that's how so when I run races, especially lapped ones, I'll always work out little just for my brain to work.
Yeah.
So you had the first bit, which was from the start to the ring rounds up until you hit the top of the
dam wall,
the wall, the wall to the wood, the second bit, and then the rest of it, which is obviously a lot longer, is the third stint, which is obviously all undercover, no wind, because that wind actually the dam wall was the first couple of laps was tasty. So I would potentially break it down into different routes or different segments of the route. You could do potentially. Again, this is just ideas. Just because I know how I work, and then you could go, okay, well, how can I make? Because then you could do like a little bit in between of go. right, this is the the segment's 5. The distance is 5k. Segment 1 is this bit here, and then it doesn't seem as intimidating. You're like, okay, well, they got segment done. The dam wall's only 550 meters.
Yeah.
This is it here, and then you've got the last bit, which is the, again, that's just some ideas. But I would have your face in there talking you through each segment.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's easy now. You've talked to Michael about Opus, you can clip it all up.
Exactly.
So I would do that. The second thing I'd love you to do, and I know you had the girl do the video, didn't she?
Yeah.
Which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. I mean, she just turned up and did it. Obviously, I saw her running around with a camera all day, so I thought, this will be good. Hopefully, we'll get some sort of content out of that. And yeah, her video was actually. Did you watch the video? I thought it was.
I watched it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
That would make me go and do another one because of her. What a video! I'd have done one if you'd have said. I totally forgot. You should have annoyed me and said, "Can you do me a video?" I'd have done one.
Well, this is so, and this is what I always want to do. I guess is go out to people and say, "Come and run one. If you want to come and vlog at them, come and run for free or whatever." Happy to share your stuff because most people are happy enough just to have their content shared. That's a bonus or whatever. And yeah, I think there's good video. I thought her video was really good in that it's not like a puff piece of sort of talking rubbish. It's actually, this is what I did and I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good. I thought it was really good. I think you should get more of that done. But what I think you should do is I think, because it's a lapped event, you're very lucky with the respect of you can walk a lap and it will only take you an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And an hour if it's 5k or whatever it is. But I think you could interview people while walking around because a lot of people will walk in during the event just naturally because they will.
Yeah.
I reckon you could on lap 2, the second the first place comes in, you should walk around with a mic. You can buy something cheap like this sort of thing. And I think you should have a backpack on or behind you, which is like, come and tell me why you're running today or something like this. And just get quick little pieces like, what's your name, where have you come from, what lap you on, what are you running for, a bit of a story. You could just do one lap and you're done then.
So you're right. Because I've already tried to start doing it. So I think I said to you before that I'm doing a podcast now. So I've done a few episodes and
I've only heard one. Is the other one out?
I've done 2. So I did one after the squirrel challenge where I then interviewed people that essentially at the aid station. So
I didn't get an invite.
So I'm on it. So
I didn't get an invite. Did I?
Where is that on TikTok? Or?
No. So on TikTok, I've I guess plugged it, that last one. So so that's me wandering around telling people sort of what's going on at the event. So again, I did it yesterday where I only chatted to a few people. So the problem, and again, this is a me problem, but I have loads of really good conversations with people at the finish, but I don't want to then sort of force it. Like, no, don't talk to me yet. Here's a phone. Right, now talk to me. Because I mean, I sort of need to do that a little bit, but I have so many great conversations. I mean, there was one lady that I sort of said, can we do a little bit to camera so I can put it on the podcast? And I had the phone out and then she said like 3 words and then just sort of like broke down giggling. So, no, I can't do this. Okay, fine. Put the phone away and then chatted to her that would have made brilliant content for like 5 minutes and how much she'd never done events like this. It's so much fun. It's so nice to have like no pressure. All the stuff that I wanted to say to a phone, but she didn't want to say to a phone and obviously didn't record any of it. So it's really, I 100% agree that I need to get people on the, at the events, talking about the events, because whatever I write down, whatever I put out, no one's going to believe it as much as seeing somebody say, I loved it, it was great, and I'll come back again.
But walking with someone doing it. So
I agree.
There's I can't remember what it's called now, but the reason why people have more open conversations while they're driving is because you're next to each other, both in going in one direction. It's the same with you walking. If you're face to face, it's a lot more intimidating.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go for a walk or whereas again, because you're side by side walking, I think you get some great because there's so many stories of people that go to your events, like, I'm training for this, or, there's again, the lady that vlog, there's so many there.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is one lap. You'd need to do one lap of walking and you're done.
Well, the beauty of, like you say, the lap format is all I've got to do is sort of walk up and down for a minute and just catch people as they're going and just have it on a bloody selfie stick and just walk along and get both of us as we go along. And then it's not as intimidating because it's not a phone in your face. Talk to me.
No.
Yeah, well, I think that's what, I've only done it for 2 events now, but both times I've had people that I've chatted to for like a minute and actually, can we do this and record it? And like, yeah. And then like, okay, how'd you get on? And then they literally just fumble the words and walk away. Normally in giggles or whatever, but it's very different. Whereas if I'd have just recorded some of the conversations, because no, I 100% agree. So the plan with the podcast is to sort of give, I guess, a business update as to how I'm getting on, and then to try and get little interviews from each event, and then just to add in a bit of personal stuff. Because what you were saying about the sort of being sort of more of a face of it and getting my face on things more, it comes from, I guess, when I was in HSBC, it was very much you're working for a company with 300,000 employees. Whereas you've got to try with a business like this, you want to try and feel big enough. They don't think they're going to turn up to just a bloke with a van and getting some jelly babies out the back of it, like events I've done before. But I don't want it to be so I need to be bigger than that, but I don't want it to feel like the corporate machine either, like UTMB, where it's just faceless conglomerate puts you out running. So I think what I'm starting to sort of get towards now is Paul doing things with big events, because it is just me. Like, it's not, we have volunteers, and as I said to you earlier, like my parents have volunteered at every one. There's lots of familiar faces around, but apart from on race day, it's me that does it all. Like, it is me. So why
you've got a
not
great
sell
business.
that?
Like these races, I think they're fantastic. Because apart from being a marketing machine, there's not. I don't say this. I know this is a little bit naive, but you sort out the location. You got to spread some cheese and stuff on some sandwiches the night before, bit of Marmite. Like, then we're done. Sort your insurance out. Bing bam boom. Let's hope it doesn't rain. Not far off. Like, it's great. What you've just got to make sure is people turn up, even if they're paid, because it's great they've paid, but you actually want them to turn up as well.
Yeah.
Which
it's nice. You want a small selection to pay and not turn up, but you don't want many of them to do that, because otherwise you've got no event, because you need people there and some atmosphere.
Exactly. And then you want to, because then that breeds more confidence and all the rest of it. So you need that. So I think doing that interview while you're walking around, I think you could call it the lap.
Yeah.
There you go. I've just given you a name. Michael, write it on the crib sheet. The lap. Paul Albon. The lap. Perfect.
Yeah.
You do one lap of every single race.
Yes, sort of. The problem that I then have is, because it is a one-man band, just the timing equipment actually requires me to be near it, because if it all goes tits up, I sort of need to be there. But the concept is still right, because I can then pick people up. I don't have to go far. I can go 500 meters one way, 500 meters the other way, and I can pick people up, and I can still be around to sort problems out. But the idea of actually interviewing people while walking along, I think, is a much better way of doing it, rather than, like I say, sticking a phone right in the face. Because
more engaged as well, because there's stuff going on.
People running past and stuff.
Yeah. And it shows people the course rather than the finish line, really.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it highlights that you don't have to be running balls out for 6 hours. Plenty of people walk. I mean, there was a guy, I sort of shouted at him yesterday as he was running along. I was like, "Oh, how are you getting on?" He said, "Oh, I've only ever done a half marathon, but this is great because loads of people are walking, so can I." It's like, yeah, of course. People, if you don't know,
and writing's good. I like writing pools. I go there a lot with the kids. It's great. It's good. Yeah,
lovely place to run. It's just spot on. But if you don't do these sorts of events, you don't do ultra running. People think that you're doing 50 miles and that you're doing it at a park run effort for 50 miles. Well, no. One guy at the front might be if he's world class, but everyone else
is just loitering about.
Yeah, wandering about, having some cake and running.
cheese sandwiches.
I have the cake, but
Yeah.
cheese sandwiches go down a treat.
Just yeah. So you need to do that. The lap.
Yeah,
Call it what you want.
yeah.
I think the lap's a great one though. So call it something like that. But you've got to interview them while walking along.
Yes.
You've got to do it.
Yeah.
On the next one.
Yeah.
Got to.
You're going to be there, aren't you?
It's on my diary at home.
Oh, there we
Michael
go.
knows I've now got behind me in my office. I'm the worst person for booking stuff. Like so I've bought a full year calendar and I put stickers, dots based on what colour they are and what I'm doing that day.
Nice.
Just so I don't forget. So I turn around and go, yeah, I'm free. It's easy.
Excellent.
So if you're on my dot, it's a red dot.
Okay.
You'll be fine. So you need to do it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if I got an invite. Hey. What I think you should also do is, now this is a bit rogue, type into YouTube TCG live event store. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say, don't you? Okay.
You mean the Pokemon one?
Yeah. So I've never seen this at an event, and I think that this could be something you do. I think you should go live at all your events at the finishing line.
Yeah, so you get that. So,
But if you see this, and the reason why I use this Pokemon stuff is because it's everywhere at the moment. And they're all selling cards but it's so engaging. It's so engaging because it's gone live. You can then save the live, so you could have this at the finish line, and after everyone go to camera. Jake's number one. Jake's first. He's just hit his. Lap 1 is 5 minutes 20 or whatever. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So engaging.
And there's less pressure on, because you're not then producing the camera for them to be interviewed. The camera's just there going.
You could just have a mic on, you see.
So what we're watching is what he's clipped up, right?
Yeah.
But then it also goes live.
Yeah.
So I'd be very nervous of my conversations at finish line being live. So there are.
Why?
Well, not that we're being massively offensive or anything, but I speak relatively candidly at finish lines. So there are. I've worked on events, and there are big events that have live cameras from aid stations. So I think it's like Lakeland 50 and Lakeland 100. You can watch their aid stations live, but they have no sound on, because people come out with all sorts of things, not
that's what
offensive things. Yeah, but I think that you'd kill the vibe if people thought they were being recorded. The idea of having a live camera without sound would work. I can, because I have sat there, and it sounds really odd, but I knew somebody that was working at one of the aid stations, and it's sort of on a farm yard bit, and like you say, it's just people buttering sandwiches and giving out water, and I watched that for half an hour, and why? I don't know why.
But if they were talking, going 101, 102, making a joke, you could be on the start line saying, obviously you'd have to be a little bit conscious of what you're saying, but I'm sure you're not saying anything really bad.
No. And it's not
just talking through, Jake's just finished, lap 1, he's coming at 25 minutes thing, currently, it's engaging, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't even have to think. You would just, literally as you did with me, yep, James, well done, mate, lap 5 or whatever, that's all you're doing. The only difference is you're clipped up.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I'd be scared of doing that live and publishing it, but maybe doing it live to then clip up afterwards.
Yeah, because this is they've obviously filmed the whole day and then they just edit in the bits that are good. But obviously that's just more effort then.
It's more the effort, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Unless you can put it into Opus after. But
so people will you do get, there's a few companies that will do live streams, especially the whole Backyard Ultra format. And they'll live stream for 4 days of people running around a lap. I didn't do any of that format, but there are some companies that do it. But I would, and just to be clear, we're not coming out with horrific language that's going to get me cancelled, but it'll be just things that probably don't really want to publish. I don't know. I can't. I'm trying to think of things that I would say that Yeah, I just think that people would act differently if they thought they were being recorded live the whole time.
I don't think they would. Don't think they'd even notice, to be fair. Even if it was just on yours, even if it's just on like where you were the other day with the booth.
Yeah.
Like just that bit, and you're going, Barbara, Sandra, lap 4, well done. Again,
that's what I mean. Like, it'd be good to get that and clip it. So you get some sort of good. I could get like good couple of minutes
because you're clipped up. Because you'll obviously have two-way dialogue then with other people.
Yeah.
It's good. Again, you'd have to look at obviously what phone you use for it, because obviously all that stuff. But again, it's that. Yeah, obviously you've always got to be comfortable with what you want to do, but in terms of showing people the event, people doing it, again, that FOMO as well. People go, I didn't book him for that one. I need to book him for the next. I think it'll really help. But again, whacking it on YouTube. Your market is on YouTube searching for races.
Yeah.
You need to utilise it more.
Yeah, 100%. Because
you're neglecting YouTube.
I don't use it for people trying to find things, which is obviously like YouTube's meant to be the second biggest search engine after Google or something. So it's definitely a missed opportunity. But I don't know. What do you think is better, to reach out to people that already do it, or try and? I can't really create my own stuff, so I mean, just reach out to people that have got big followers. Yeah,
I would reach out, to the Run for Adventures and all these, and because it's such a different race, To be fair, that lady that did it, she's very unassuming, isn't she? Just when I first saw her, I was like, oh, okay, fair play. She's created her own little thing. It's good.
Is that the one that was on TikTok? Is that this one?
No.
This is still somebody doing that.
That is somebody doing that. I don't know,
Do you know what this is?
If I've even seen that one. Just that's how across it all I am.
Did we have race bibs?
Yeah, you had a race bib on, yeah.
Did we?
But that might be.
Oh, it was on my bag.
Oh, it's just music.
Is that this year?
Out now. What loads of kits to try out with me. So I've got shiny trousers that are going to get wrecked, but today's the day to try out my kit protector. So we'll see how it goes.
That looks too sunny.
No, it was really sunny.
It was windy. Oh yeah, it was sunny, wasn't it?
It was lovely.
Yeah, it says 26th of January.
Yeah, it was lovely. The weather was.
That's the wind.
You've even commented.
Oh yeah, no, that was this year. I did even comment. So yeah, I do remember that.
That's perfect, that sort of video.
But that's
good.
Yeah, and they're good, but I don't tend to get loads of people that do that. Do you know what I mean? I don't really attract that crowd of runners, because they're a bit more sort of understated runners, I guess, because it's not as glitzy and glamour as a great big finish line and cannons going. It's not that. It's more subdued.
But people will still be searching for your races and looking for content.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'd love to have more people come in and doing that. And
you could do one a race.
Yeah, but how do I find them? That's the.
Go onto YouTube and reach out. Like Run for Adventure, that Lloyd guy. See if he's up for doing something.
Yeah.
What's worse than they say? No.
See, and he's
only got 50,000 subscribers. Like, he's not big time. I reckon we could do a running channel, Michael. You and I, it'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've had the running channel. I've had the running channel come to a couple of my events.
There you go.
Which has always been good. They tend to sort of come to them to do other things. So it's sort of like a side part of it, if that makes sense. So it's not like it's the main focus, because I mean they are a big channel. That is sort of 500,000, 1 million people. I think they've got a lot anyway. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is another thing that we've talked about, in that I'm just a shy little boy that doesn't want to reach out for fear of embarrassment. So whereas you said how you sit in the corner of social events, and then when you've got to get your work head on, that changes. I don't change for the work.
You're only emailing them, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, this is it, and this is what I sort of need to be more proactive with, is reaching out, because again, a lot of these guys and girls, if they do it a lot, their weekends will be busy doing different events, but their midweeks won't be. So
They
it's
won't be.
sort of
Well, they won't be. And also, the good thing with you is that, although obviously you run this, you're also a director for Centurion.
yeah.
They'll know, if you look at this guy, for example, he's run the Snowdon, South Downs 100 and stuff. Like, he'll know.
Yeah.
He'll be running the races that you're directing in some of them.
Yeah. So there should be knowledge from a few people. Like it's an odd, not odd, but it is what it is in that I think the lady we're speaking about with the who did the YouTube video sort of comments on how she's done lots of Centurion events, but doesn't necessarily link me working for them and Centurion. So she's not really put the link together. Hopefully, the more that I do with Centurion, because although I've worked with them now for 3-4 years, it's sort of little bits over and over. And the more I get into that world, hopefully there'll be some spillover, some crossover, because my events are good to train for those longer events. It works nicely. So it's not as though it's chalk and cheese. They marry together quite nicely. But that's sort of, that crossover is out of my control a little bit, if that makes sense.
It is, but I think actually reaching out to some of these guys, these vloggers, like obviously we're looking at him, he's, I'd say one of the bigger ones, but there's loads of small running channels.
Well, this is it, and I don't necessarily need them to make videos to then go out to their 20,000, 50,000 people. I need them to make videos for me to then put out to my audience and people that I'm trying to find, and then bumping that up. So I mean, that guy, 300 subscribers, or whatever. So when he does stuff, I'm not that fussed it goes out to his 300, but he gives me good content that I can use.
And some of the content these are really, like I watched, so before I booked the South Downs 100, South Downs Way 100, I've watched all these here. I've watched the guy at the top.
Yeah.
One of them flew out too quickly, it made me giggle. It was that guy, actually. If you go up, that guy there, he flew out too quickly, I think. I've watched probably 5, 6, 7 videos, all of them 40 minutes long, before I press the button to play.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a holiday, I suppose. People want to look up videos of people there to see what it's actually like.
Yeah,
it's a big commitment. Like, it's like for a 100-mile event that's costing you £200, taking your whole weekend, you're training for 6 months, whatever it is. It's a big commitment to make, and so you don't want to spend the money out and put your time into it and it not be the event you think it's going to be. I might be in some of these photos. But I mean, that sort of South Downs Way 100 is one of the biggest ultras in the country, 700 people for the last 10 something years.
Some quick times.
There'll be some of the country's best.
Yeah,
athletes.
because I was looking at the times going, I wonder if I can, and I was like,
no. So now as well, it's part of the World Trail Majors series. There'll be internationally good athletes will come along as well.
Yeah, I looked at some of the times. I was like,
God came third.
No, that's a different race.
South Downs Way 100. Is that not the same?
Third place. Yeah.
There's 2 races. There's South Downs 100 and the South Downs Way 100. There's 2 because I think I've watched one of his and it's actually a different race altogether. So there's like 7 people in it.
Yeah. So the joy of naming events is that as much as you can copyright like the full title, the South Downs is obviously a national trail, so you can't defend your copyright particularly easily.
Because I think it was one of these where he went, I came third. I looked at his time, I was like, that's not quick. And I was thinking about my own line going, I'd do that. And I was like, how was he? And then realised it was a totally different race altogether. I was about 50 minutes into the video and I was like, it's a different race.
Yeah.
So YouTube, you need to use your YouTube more when it comes to video, and you need to reach out to influencers, big and small. You just have to do it.
Yeah,
have to. You've got to do it.
Sorry, I was nodding and then realised that's not great for the video, for the audio. I agree.
You've got to do it
because
that's the biggest thing from today is because people are again they are on YouTube. Look at all the I know some of these have she's only got 10,000 views, but that's 10,000 people has engaged with that video about the South Downs Way 100.
I love 10,000 views. I don't get anything that big. All of my stuff's sort of
You don't need
lot
10,000. You
No,
need
no, no.
like 1,000. Like
Yeah,
you don't
that'd
even
be
need
brilliant.
nowhere near that.
Yeah.
So you need. That's where you really. I think you've got events running now. Like she's already got 1,000 views on that one.
Yeah.
Nearly brilliant, absolutely fantastic. And she's like tiny.
Yeah. See, when you search for it, you'll find lots of things to do in California. Yeah. So it's great fun having a Facebook group that a lot of the people that come in are trying to find out events to do when they go on holiday to a lake in California.
Okay.
Um,
Which you're not.
which I'm not. No.
No.
Which in hindsight, when I was naming it, maybe I should have thought about that, but I didn't think about that.
But no. So that's the biggest one is YouTube.
Yeah.
In terms of your Instagram and Facebook, yes, right.
Cheers. So this is essentially where I spend most of the effort is on Instagram, Facebook, because that is where my audience is.
So go back to Instagram, Michael. Michael, can I get your opinion, Scarlett, on this, on the already,
On the what?
on the red?
Oh, what do you mean? My opinion, just generally.
Yeah.
I think it looks okay. It's not like that standouty, I guess, is might be what you're getting at. Is that what you're getting at, or do they all look kind of similar, or?
Do they not want to look the same? So I mean, they look the same because I use the same background for
Yeah.
90% of the things I do.
I think a picture tells 1,000 stories, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think by putting a lot of the backgrounds on with the red, you're sort of
Less for the actual.
you're diverting people away from that guy there 103 who looks like he's in a real bad state, bless him, or you see what I mean, like they're the pictures that's gonna they're telling the story. So I would potentially look at just tweaking it, maybe just put in the, like for example, these little emblems here, look.
Yeah.
Scroll up, Mike. Scroll up. Like all these little ones here. Scroll up. And then there's some other ones here.
Yeah. So that's
just little stuff like that, or maybe the images, like stuff like that. Brilliant. Yeah. I don't think you're losing all this space here, which could be, it's just, I think you're taking away from, again, the surroundings people are running in.
So rather than so for every event, I essentially have sort of like I'll make it sound more glamorous, a media pack for every event where I've got Instagram square images. So we'll have the picture. So for instance, that Rhino challenge, that's the front page, and then like the second image on that is then the details of the event.
Yeah.
And then I also use that image as well as the header on the website, so that then that same image sort of carries through. I've then got an Instagram stories version of that.
Yeah.
So it's all the branding looks the same. So hopefully wherever you engage with Big Bear events, you will see sort of like the red stuff everywhere, because that is my colour, I guess. But are you saying then that stuff that engages better is just pure pictures without any information on?
Well,
You could use that as an overlay, I was going to say. If you had that if that was the full size, and then down the side you had the stats.
So essentially just use one picture.
I don't know if that's what you're going to say.
yeah, you could still do it in two. I like your idea, Michael, of that. I think it's a little bit different. If you go to the left, Michael, rather than keep moving that every 2 seconds, is you've got race checker there.
Yeah.
We've I think during this conversation agreed that no one knows what race checker is, so is there any value in having it?
Well, so if you go into a chip shop and you see it won an award 3 years ago, do you care
No.
who it's won an award from? But do you not think that's an award-winning chip shop?
No, because they're all award winning, aren't they?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
They've won something, right? But
It's like in the marketing agency world, best SEO agency in CV31 2HP.
Yeah.
Well, we're only one agency in that on that road. So
no one looks at the detail, do they? So I get your point, but I always think with these that if I can put like a gold label on it, wherever it's come from, that then makes somebody think, oh, it's got to be decent, because you don't really get that on race entries.
But you're far past that now. You're 8 years old. You've got enough social proof. You're doing yourself a disservice, Paul. You're 8 years in. You get most of your events now are totally full. Totally full.
They have been recently.
Yeah, no, but because it takes time. You're 8 years on.
Yeah.
That is adding zero value. I think, to Michael's point, is you could put it on 1, you can still put it on 2, but that race check is adding absolute zero. And also, from like this thing here, obviously, look, I've got an issue with this Caney Cross thing. Just get out of my way, just move. And I don't like dogs barking as well. I've got a real issue with dogs barking.
Yeah, they don't tend, when they're running, so the dogs that come to the events are the most professional dogs you'll ever see.
But on the start line, they bark.
They can do.
Yeah, they annoy me. I don't like dogs that bark. I've got a real issue with it because I've trained mine to bark when I tell him to.
Right. Okay.
Outside of that, I don't want to hear it. Like, there's dogs in here where we are today, and they'll bark, and all I want to do is throw them out the door.
Okay.
Because it's rude. If you're in a coffee shop, I don't want to hear your dog.
No, I agree.
When I'm trying to hear the race briefing, I don't want to hear your dog. So, take it over there and out my way.
And that's why I do the race briefings for Canny Cross on YouTube, you see, so they can move.
How many Canny Cross do you get per event on average?
Between 5 and 10. But, so it doesn't sound like loads, but that just nicely tips the balance over from having an event with 70 or 80 people to then having an event with 90, 100 people. So I only do Canny Cross in the winter. So it's only really 6 or 7 events a year, hence sort of highlighting that this is a Canny Cross event, which is good as well because you've worked out that's what it means just from the paw print. So that's the idea of having those little logos. So on all of the different events, if it's, a bit quirky for some reason, so I do one that starts at 6 p.m. and finishes at midnight.
When's that?
That's in early May at Beacon Hill again, up in Leicester. So for that one, I've got a little symbol.
What day is it?
It's a Friday night.
Oh, nice.
So Friday night one that finishes at midnight. And so for that one, I've got a little icon that's got sun, moon or something. So hopefully you might not necessarily know what it means straight away, but it sort of alludes to that's what it probably is. So you're saying then if you were going to redesign this bit, you'd go, rather than having any sort of background, you'd sort of fill it with picture.
I'd have it a full image.
Yeah.
Full image photo. I'd have your Big Bear events, logo as it is. I'd get rid of the race checker completely. So I'd an absolute zero value. And I would probably, like Michael said, overlay, for example, like here. Or just, what I'm trying to say. It's a silhouette, so you could watch it behind, see it behind. But you're missing so much space there of image, which could really, that could be a lovely blue sky above there.
Yeah.
I have no idea if it is.
Well, yeah, and the big issue that I have as well with essentially the naming of the event is you've got no idea where it is, because it's not the Loughborough 10K or the Leamington Half where you know where it is. So, and because it's midweek, you've got to get those details in straight away because you don't know if you can do it, you don't know where it is, you don't know when it is. So trying to get all that on one image is probably better. And now that Instagram's changed to 4 to 5 rather than 1 to 1, it means that there's a bit more space for more information on that image as well, I think.
But also you can, you've got the text description, you can put it in there. People, remember that's just to grab someone's attention. Then they're going to click more and then read the rest.
Okay. Do you think that do you think if you sort of just have an amazing image, people then genuinely click through to the essentially read more part? Because I just get quite a lot of information in, you see. Yeah,
that's very busy. That photo there, they're all very busy.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand what, you get it's running.
Yeah.
But your eye is already attracted to the top because of the red. And then you look on the left and you've got this weird logo for gold something, which no one even knows what it is.
Yeah.
Even in the running community. You see the dog and go, okay, fine, there's dog races. But only people that run would understand what that means.
Yeah, 'cause I just don't know what the dog thing meant.
No, but then I'm always conscious of sort of, because as has become clear over the last however long we've been talking for, I'm not great with brevity. So I could fill this with about 15,000 words if given the chance. I'm always trying to sort of do less and less and less.
Go to the right, Michael. Go on to the next image.
Because then on the next one is like the key information. So where it is, when it is, how much is it, and what's the course like. So with that information, I would hope that 95% of people that understand what my events are like would know, oh, I can make that Tuesday, and now I've got the key information that I need. So that's the idea of...
I would have that on different ones as well. I'd probably have it as free. I'd have it as a carousel of free. Hero image, the details of the race in terms of like miles, elevation, trail. Also on there, it doesn't say it's 6 hours long.
Yeah.
And then on the next one, I would do location, date, time, and...
So do you think then, so if we turn that into 3, I could then have like a final one with quite a bit of text, well, not a lot, but like more text on explaining what the event is, because like you say, unless you know that they're 6-hour events, this does not tell you that.
No, it doesn't, no.
So do you think like an explainer sort of picture that, so 6-hour event, do what you want, it's really fun, blah blah blah.
I think you've got to get a real mixture with this, because obviously that is just people. The problem is, for people following your page, very few people even get served this ad anyway. This is the issue with Instagram, as you'll know with the impressions, it's just tiny. Obviously, using Reels is going to organically push out further. We know that.
Yeah.
So, I know you were saying about doing the pieces to camera, but I would just try and get as much content as you can on these races. But even just trying to explain what my races are, I would be banging that drum every single week, a different video to camera, going, this is what the Big Bear events are.
Right. Okay. So again, I've got, so in terms of images, I've got something like 50,000 images. I've also got, I've had a videographer turn up to 3 separate events. So I've got like really good, what I would again call like static imagery that just works. So,
the images I got were great.
Yeah. So I've got loads of imagery that I could do.
That's a selling point, free pictures.
So I've got all of these sort of, all this media that I can use. So am I better essentially setting cameras up in a much less professional setup than this, but setting cameras up and then talking to camera saying, this is what my stuff is?
Yeah.
Or do I essentially voice over stuff that I play around with and put together?
Me and Michael will have a debate about this voiceover all the time, don't we?
It's good, but it just obviously takes more time.
Just takes more time. I always do it to camera, like your podcast did. Obviously, you did it in... no, you did it in... Did you do it landscape?
Yeah, so this was... So because I was thinking, like, I want stuff that I can then use on Reels and stuff like that. And then somebody sent me a picture of them watching the YouTube on their TV, which I just didn't even know was a thing, really. Like, my kids watch... So I send them... so they'll watch football highlights that I send from YouTube onto the TV. But apart from that, I do not watch YouTube through TV. So
I watch it.
You've now said it.
I watch it every night.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's massive.
I don't know what you kids are up to these days.
Just watching like runners, basically.
Yeah, see, I didn't know.
And Goldshaw Farm in Vermont. Shout out Goldshaw.
I don't know what that is. So
it's a bloke that farms in Vermont.
Right. Okay.
Just watch him and his life.
Right.
I'm into farming.
That's fun. I used to work on a farm as well. Anyway, we won't get into that. But now I've started recording them in landscape because it looks awful on a TV in portrait. So I have changed that around.
But Reels or YouTube Shorts will always be like that anyway, so that's fine. You can still do it. You can still do it vertically. That's fine. If you're on your TV, there's nothing you can do about it. Even like if I had to go on Shorts, it's fine. But if you're going to use it for like an actual YouTube video, then obviously landscape, I would continue what you're doing for the Shorts of just you tell them what the event is.
What do you mean?
So YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, all vertical.
Yeah.
Even if you watch YouTube Shorts on your TV, it'll still look pony because there's no way around. There's no way because the TV can't then change the dimensions of the video. So that's just there's nothing you can do about that. So if you're doing this pit stuff to camera, just continue in vertical. If you're just using them across that medium.
Yeah.
You mean more like that?
Yeah, like that.
I just did that.
There we go.
Huh.
Bosh, done. Yeah, so...
Because that's more eye-catching. It still has... Obviously, it doesn't have to look like that, but...
No, I get...
You can have more information on the side. You can swipe through to another one that has...
So seeing that,
Yeah.
what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I can... Because... So I have somebody that does all the design work for me. And essentially... Yeah, well, I do... I do. So she makes all the she does all the medal designs for me. I've used the same woman for 5 years, I think. She's an Argentinian. She's got a job now, but she was a design student at the time. Because essentially, I went on to Fiverr to find someone to design medals for me. Because what I didn't want to do was use the same people that make the same medals for every single running event company in the country, because you get the same stuff. So I've got someone that knows nothing about running doing design work for me. Anyway, so she does all the design stuff for me. She does what I ask her to do. So I've asked her to make the things that we were looking at. So if I ask her to do this, she'll come up with stuff that will be really good.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you play around with it, but the gist of it is there. You know what you're getting. And like I said, I've got so much imagery that is really good, that works really well. I've got such variety that I can... because obviously the problem with that, I know you've obviously just done this in like 2 seconds, but the problem with that image is that, for starters, it's all white men in short shorts all at the front.
Yeah, forget
that bit.
Forget that for now.
There's not loads of space either, is there? So,
Don't do that.
And that's the problem, you see.
Don't do what you're going to do.
What, black it out? But you're not.
You're obsessed with that.
But you can't see it. So without
but you can you would be able to with the gradient and stuff. I know what you're trying to do. Don't do it, because it's awful sometimes.
Were you then going to put some shade behind it, or were you going to keep it solid like that?
Keep it solid.
Well, I probably would have done that and then sort of made it transparent, just so it stands out.
To be fair, I'll give you.
I wouldn't shout at that.
Okay.
He didn't even let me.
To be fair, Michael, actually, I'll give you a little bit of credit on this one. That actually looks all right, but it stands out, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you've gone from, so on my ones the image was a third, and now the image is 90%. So that is a running event, and you've got key details down the side. Brilliant. So, that is a better look than what I've used. When you, like you say, I mean, this is the whole point of this show, right? Is that when you then look at it and really think about it, you're like, oh, that was silly. Like, that's the...
Yeah, but
you get in the habit of just doing it how you've done it, so you don't really look at it.
Like, me and Michael argue all the time about stuff. All the time.
As you can
tell. But because, it's different opinions, isn't it? Like, the problem when you're a one-man band is that you've only got one set of eyes.
Yes.
And even if you're going to pay someone to help you consult, the reality is, and no disrespect to consultants, 99 times out of 100, they're going to blow smoke at your ass and go, that's really good.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're getting paid for, because they do not want to lose your custom. Your images are fine to get you where you've gone. I think to get to that next bit, something like this is just, it's different. It really stands out. Obviously, look, you've got your colour palette anyway.
Yeah.
Again, you've got loads of imagery. That stuff, you could bash out hundreds of those.
Yeah.
Hundreds of those forever.
Yeah.
But go back to what you've done, Michael. I personally think that's it's obviously it's different and everything.
Yeah. The blueprint of it.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
You know what it is. You know that it's, there's 95 meters worth of elevation. It starts at 9. That'd be 6 hours, for example, and it's 50k. Obviously, that would be maybe a 5k loop or something.
Yeah.
But
really, the concept of doing it like that, and then having maybe, so you have that as sort of the front page. The next one, the details, but probably with no imagery, but just clear details.
Yeah.
And then a third page explaining what a 6-hour event is, because it never really dawned on me before that somebody looks at that and maybe their friends liked it, so then they see it and it's like, well, what is it? There's nothing on my posts about my events that say it's a 6-hour
I would
event.
say some people would think, what on earth is this? Because if you go back, because even I questioned it, Paul, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Is when I was like, what's a bat challenge?
Yes. Well, and this is the... when you say it like that, when you put that tone behind anything and it sounds strange. But
I did, because I was like... it wasn't the bat. Maybe it was the rhino one.
No. But you're right though, because if that said, because of the sort of strange, the slight oddity with the naming, if that said Leamington Half Marathon rather than Rhino Challenge, you'd know what it was because you know it's half marathon. But because of the odd format and because essentially they're all named after animals, which is intentional, but like they're all named after animals, you don't know what it is. So you need some details up front that tell you.
And I think what Michael just obviously very, very, very quickly drafted up.
Yeah.
Obviously,
even if Big Bear Events was down there and then the top bit said Rhino Challenge, you now know when it's a Rhino Challenge, this is what.
Yeah, you know what it is. You know it's a rung event because you know what it's a challenge. And because all of my imagery that I use, I say all, the majority that I use, I'm not using sort of like the stock imagery you get, which, like you say, the first one at the top of the list is always some skinny white men in short shorts.
You've got loads of imagery.
Whereas I've got imagery of all sorts, of all shapes and sizes, of everything, and they'll be the ones that I use.
I was well happy with your images, actually, because I've lost a bit of weight recently, and it's the first photos in a running race ever where you've not absolutely seen my little paunch, ever. And I got the photos through and I was like... Yes, Paul.
Heavily edited. I said,
perfect.
Take all these photos, but make sure that you spend 6 hours in Photoshop.
If you can, that'd be great. Yeah, I was well impressed, mate. I was well happy with that. But again, it's that, you know, with social media, you know better than anyone. So short time span now.
Yeah,
we've got to grab attention quickly, and again, it's great because the people know of you will be able to see that and go, I know what it is. People that don't know you will have no idea what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's the
only one they would, scroll down, is that one there. Because it's got 10k.
Yeah.
It's the only one that shows actually what you guys do.
And that's it. And that's it's sort of obvious what it is to a certain extent. Not the best picture to use for it, but it's obvious what it is. Yeah, 100%. I completely agree.
So, crib sheet. Mm-hmm. You get a crib sheet when you leave.
Yeah, good.
Of all the things to do. I'm glad we got off our chest. So change the design slightly, and then I think you need to really tell people what a 6-hour race is. I'd have that going out, reels, doing stuff to camera, and also bear in mind is once you've said it once, you just repurpose it in 3 months' time and go again. Like, you don't need to rehash it. All the clips that we do for these podcasts, we use Postplan. I always forget the name of it. And we put them into different buckets. We've got content going out now 3 times a day across most channels, and it's just repurposed content.
Okay.
And we've just literally put them all back in the bucket and said go across these channels. And I think we've got till what, July?
Yeah, something like that.
We don't touch it now. That's it. Just shuffles them up.
So I've got like a content. So I use Canva as well, and I've got content that I sort of repurpose because there's. So again, like you say, I like talking about marketing with people. And so I've got a marketing plan as to what I put out for each event. So each event normally starts 7 months out, put a post out, 5 months, 3 months, 2 months, 5 weeks, 1 month, 2 weeks, 1 week event. So I put posts out, but I can't put posts out 7 months time saying, enter the event now, rah, 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 because no one cares. It's 7 months away. So what I then do is I'll have a post about the new alcohol-free beer that we give out at the end of each event. And I'll be like, oh, this is the beer we've got. By the way, you can get it when you come and run with us in September. That sort of thing. So I'm sort of trying to drip feed in that we've got events coming, but I've got sort of banks of content. So I've probably got 10 or 15 different things that I use on rotation and then drop in that there's an event coming.
So,
but what I'm now you've created me work, I'm going to have to go back through some of it and sort of reprocess sort of the imagery and things so that it is highlight image rather than being a lot of background.
You're pinned as well on the top. If you pinned three things here and you had our races and it said you could swipe through and it's like the back challenge is this, the ride challenge, and then the next one is here's where we do the races.
Yeah.
Because if I come to this and just see that, then I might have to go all the way down here to find out what that is.
So again, this is probably where I don't use social media and the internet like most people, and I don't know how often I look at anybody's. So I'll scroll through things and I'll search for things, but very rarely will I go onto a company's. Yeah, I'll just see. I guess I then do. So I'm just not really thinking about it. But I should definitely pin what is it? Who are we? And probably the podcast. Then there's the three things across the top.
You can do the same in YouTube. Then you can do playlists of here's all the races, here's all of this.
Because I think showing all your races in one, again, carousel would look really good. This is Daventry, Rhino, and again, try and make it. Maybe you could do a bird's eye view of, obviously get it from Google Maps and just do it and show it again. Yeah. It just brings it to life a little bit more. So people go, okay, these are cool. These are all the races they do each year. Again, it's that social proof, isn't it? You don't just do one race, you do loads.
Yeah.
We've single-handedly sorted you out.
Pretty much. But no, like it's really, I can see where the value's going to come in it. And it's not, it's not massive changes really. Because the stuff with the imagery, I can change that pretty simply now that I know essentially how to brief the person that does my designs. And I can make that work. Doing more stuff to camera, I can do that as well. And I'm getting more comfortable with it, mainly because I have people that come to my events are nice and they've not all said your podcast dog shit. Like, they've spoken nicely and they've said nice things. And the bit that really struck was when you guys did one before Christmas and you're talking about your sort of listener numbers. And I've always thought, you've got to have hundreds, thousands of people to make it worthwhile. And you were saying, well, we've got, a few handfuls and it's been worthwhile.
Well, yeah, it generates $2,500 a month on average for us. It's ridiculous when you look at it.
Yeah.
Everyone else would look at it and go, it's an absolute failure.
And this is what I
even heard people on the start line even mention, I've listened to your podcast.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah. And that was, and I said to somebody, I find that all, again, just because of how I am, just find it all really embarrassing. But what I really want is for like 1 million people to listen to it, but for me to never know that. Because I just find it really, I don't want all these people to turn up that have heard it, but I don't want to know they've listened to it. Just find it sort of embarrassing talking to camera. But I don't massively mind doing it. And I've realised that I tons, which hopefully you'll edit all this out, right? All the ums, because I'm not the best
I do it all the time,
speaker.
Don't worry.
But I sort of think that as long as you're not doing it against somebody that is the perfect public speaker, so you don't have a direct comparison, I think I sort of get away with it a little bit.
It was absolutely fine. Yeah. It was good. I liked it. I listened to it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. So the plan is to do those after every event and then chuck in.
Did you do one last event?
No, because I had one. I need to go and do it. So I need to get some time where I can do it. So hopefully I'll do that tomorrow and then put that out. And then I'm going to record sort of like I've recorded one already, but I'm going to redo it because it didn't quite work, but like an origin story, because there's a handful of people that have been with me since 2018 and they've seen the progression, but there's a lot of people that have never seen any of that and they've got no idea. And it's a relatively interesting story and it, again, creates some content. And then I can use that as essentially a static podcast episode to then refer back to when I start referring to, when we used to do that or whatever, I can then refer.
Well, that's why we're doing the Race to 1,000 users. We can look back and go, that's where we were and hopefully, touch wood, that's where we are now.
Well, if this gets bigger, I was saying to Michael earlier, luckily or unluckily, I'm not big enough to not be able to respond to every single comment. So I make sure I respond to every comment because I only get a handful of them. I make sure I respond to all of them because why wouldn't you? I mean, I understand these companies that have got 100,000 responses, but to then not respond to them is criminal.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely criminal.
Yeah.
But they don't.
But then what's even worse is when you see someone that's got 3 responses and they still don't respond to them because, like, what's your excuse then? I don't understand.
I gave an example this morning on my LinkedIn Live, which was EasyJet, and they didn't have tons and tons and tons, but some people asking some genuine questions.
Yeah,
no responses.
But it looks awful. If it's a race company, if they're advertising their race, they've got adverts that they're pumping out, they're paying money to put the advert out, and there are comments on there that are things like, "Oh, where's the parking?" or "Where are the toilet?" Like genuine questions, not sort of vile comments, but like genuine questions, and they don't get responded to. You're then like, well, when I go and run that race, they don't give a shit.
The problem is that it's down to a resource. People just not having the resource to deal with it. But also from a paid media perspective, if they're then paying to distribute that neglect to their potential customers, it's so damaging, and the stats say that it's damaging, yet no one's taking it seriously. It's a real. Well, I can't fathom it at all.
No, it's odd. But yeah, like I say, unfortunately, when you have 3 comments, you can respond to 3 comments. So I don't really require quite yet. No.
One day, Paul, when you sell out to UTMB.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, as anybody in the space says, we'd never do it. Like it'd need to be a big pot of cash. You wouldn't see me in here once you get a UTMB Big Bear event. I'll just be rolling up. I have my chauffeur drop me off, and that's how it'll be. That's how it'll be.
Good. Good. Well, the question we always end with is, what's the first thing you're going to do after this?
So I'm going to work out what I want those front pages to look like on my event specific posts, and then I'm going to brief the designer so then she can get to work, so we can then try and redo everything going forwards and try and go back through some of the ones that we've already got that are coming up in a few months to try and make them better images.
Perfect. Our job here is done.
Thank you very much.
Paul, thank you for coming on, sir, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah. Cheers, James. Thank you.